Was driving in the car and noticed I was having what felt like a lightning storm on a otherwise clear day. I recall being scared, and probably very specifically, it seemed really bright and really intense. They had me come in right away, and that was kind of the beginning of some relatively serious retinopathy. It was more of a short-term fix, so this probably over the course of 6 months or so, we realized it just wasn't getting the job done, so then they moved on to a little bit more serious work, a vitrectomy, which I had done in June of 2000, and since then has been great. My husband and I together just dealt with it. This is what we've got, and we have to just make it through. If anything, it's had more of an impact to me today as a mother. I want to see them live. So that's probably, I think at the moment, it was just get through it. I guess the one thing that I still struggle with is that every day I make a mistake with my diabetes. And I feel like you have to focus on what you're doing right and just try a little bit harder tomorrow, because if you focus too much on that, you're not going to enjoy life. Everybody has some struggle. They just don't always know what theirs is, and we know what our thing is. And so in that way, it's made me appreciative. I appreciate what I can see. I'll take very good care to preserve that.
That's been about 3 years ago, maybe a little longer, not too long. I really didn't know I had it until my blood pressure went too high. The doctor did some tests, and so that's when I had diabetes. I wanted to keep my eyesight, and I just had surgery. It wasn't difficult at all because they numbs you up but you know everything that's going on. You know everything, but you just don't feel it, which was very good. Very good, because I was a little nervous, They said I had 20/20 to each eye now. Wow. And I don't even need glasses anymore. Well, I see my doctor maybe every 2 or 3 months. When they mentioned the diabetes, it's one thing that really got to me, because I know, that you can lose your eyesight. And when I found out that I had these problems, I was more concerned then than ever. It's very important because everybody needs to see it. If it's not my daughters, my son, it's my grandchildren or great-grands, in my mind, I could see them, visual them anyway, but that is not looking at them, And I love looking at them. And I know what it'll be like not seeing them.
In 2006, when my son was still a baby, I was going to work every day and doing my ordinary routine, and one morning I woke up and my vision was blurry and I couldn't see anymore. I could see, but I couldn't see well enough to actually even read anything, no matter where I held it. Apparently, all of us are adjusting our eyesight automatically without thinking about it, and at some point the deviation that's caused by the blood sugars being out of whack causes your automatic systems not to be able to do that anymore, and that's why it came on acutely. Essentially, when they test your A1C, they're testing the average blood sugar you've had over the last 3 months. Every 6 months I go and see the doctor, and he tells me there's no bleeding, and I breathe a sigh of relief. As a lawyer, what I do is I learn about what the law provides, I learn about what the facts and circumstances of a case are, and I apply those two things to each other not in court oftentimes, but on paper. And so I need to read the paper that I'm using. I need to read the computer readouts of the legal research I'm working on. And it would jeopardize my ability to work and be productive if I couldn't do that.
Back in 1980, roughly, okay, that was before we had the insulin pump. I did have some, I think it's called retinopathy, where your blood vessels in the back of your eyes sort of leak. Back then I had some laser surgery on one of my eyes. No blood vessel impairment or anything since almost over 30 years ago. There are a lot of people who are very disciplined in what they do, even if they don't have diabetes, and it just becomes part of your makeup. There's very few days that go by in a week, I mean one at the most, where I don't get some exercise of some kind.
Having a good routine and healthy lifestyle, it just go a long, long way. And it's not easy at all because there's a lot of variables. It's not just what you eat, it's your activity level. Your eyes are kind of the roadmap to the rest of your body when it comes to diabetes, because those little tiny blood vessels are kind of the indicators of what's going on. It's always in the back of your mind that you know that this disease is serious, and unless you deal with it, it's gonna creep up on you later in life, and that's really what you have to keep your eyes on, so to speak, is.
I've had diabetes for 55 years, and right now I have 0 complications. Some people react differently to diabetes, there's no doubt about that. But after all is said and done, if you can maintain normal blood sugar ranges, there's no reason why you should have complications.
Like I said, there really was no onset. It was just that I participated in the study, and they took the pictures of your eyes, and I would be lost without my vision, because it is such a big part of living, and especially if you've been able to see before, you can relate, you can think about what you've seen, but now you can't see it anymore. I have to test my blood glucose 4 times a day. I have to watch my diet, not as many sweets, eating more vegetables, eating healthier meals. It can start up in anybody. It's more common nowadays with all the additives and the sugars and everything that's in the foods that we eat. I would advise people that they should get their A1Cs checked every 6 months, or at least once a year when they go to the doctor. You check out okay with your diabetic doctor doesn't mean that you're going to check out at the eye doctor. So it is very important to have your eyes checked once a year.